to be safe to park over here. It was a good ride, feeling a lot stronger. I started feeling stronger about 4 days after I stopped taking my beta blocker. Now the reason I stopped taking it is kind of as an experiment, and I'm working with the doctor on this. I was taking so little that the doctor said it was more homeopathic. Because of the kind of different things I've been feeling this second time around with the Afib, I decided to go ahead and do that. So I don't know if that's the reason or if it's because that my heart has healed from the zapping and I've been doing the workouts just building up slowly. Whatever the case, definitely feeling better. Today was about 2 hours. This is my longest ride post second Afib. So I'm not going to increase it past that, not for a while. I think the highest I'll ever go now is going to be maybe 3 hours. Speaking of working out, let's now talk about exercise and Afib. Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek. Today we're going to be talking about, can you exercise when you've had Afib? Obviously a real important question for me, since my lifestyle, a large part of my lifestyle, has to do with cycling and bicycle racing. So every once in a while I'm going to be looking down here at my computer because I have a bunch of notes on here from a couple studies. One of the main studies that I researched is by Malmo, Malmo and group, conducted out of Norway. What they did is they followed 51 patients over a 12-week period, and they cut these patients into two groups. You had the control group of about 25 of those patients, and they were left to their own devices in terms of exercise. And then you had the exercise group, or the upper intensity interval group, 26 of those. And they were given a specific plan that we'll be talking about in a bit. Each of these patients had been in, or is in, or was in, I should say, Afib. So they either had I think it's called proximal Afib, where it lasts for a week or less, or they had the more persistent that goes on much longer. They were symptomatic, and they were each referred to for ablation. Each of those patients was fitted with a loop recorder. So when I say fitted, they installed it under their skin. And what the loop recorder does, it records, it only starts recording when the Afib starts coming on. Those that were given the specific exercise program, they would either walk or run on the road or on a treadmill. And they would do this 3 times a week. 10-minute warm-up at 60 to 70% of their maximum heart rate. Then they did 4 sets of the following. 4 minutes at upper intensity, which is going to be 85 to 95%, followed by 3 minutes at recovery, 60 to 70%. And again, they did this 4 times. So when you total those minutes up, that's not a lot of minutes. They spent 38 minutes 3 times a week doing this. Let's jump over to that other study. Now that other study I came across once and I didn't write anything down. I tried to find it again and I couldn't find it. So this is from memory. They were following over 1,000 people over a 10 or 12 year period. And this wasn't just for Afib. In fact, Afib wasn't part of the package originally, but they did record stuff afterwards. So they were looking at other things, lifestyles and overall health, their hearts, cholesterol, and different maladies that they may have accumulated during those times. One of the things that they did record from the outcome were the number of Afib incidences. Now, even though they didn't give these people specific exercise programs, and again, this was over a 10-year period, I believe it was, those that went in and looked at the results for their own study were able to formulate the following. They had asked each of the people in that study how much they exercised per week. They took all that information and categorized it. Those that exercised less than 1 hour per week, 1 to 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, all the way up to greater than 5 hours per week. And I'm thinking, 5 hours per week, I can get on the bike, I can blink, and I'm done with 5 hours. At least that's the way it used to be before the second Afib. So what they found in that study is those that exercise less than 1 hour per week, they had a greater incidence of Afib than those that exercised 5 hours per week or greater. However, when you looked at the rest of the hours, this was a U-shaped curve. Those that exercised something like 2 to 3 hours per week, they had the less episodes of Afib. This exercise regimen that they did it whether they were in Afib or not. The results. With the control group, their episodes in Afib actually went up from 10% to 14%. Those that were doing the interval training, it went down from 8% down to 4%. And there was also improvement in quality of life. So that would be fewer Afib incidences, obviously, from the 8 to 4, and there was less intensity during those episodes. Now the intensity part. I've always felt the same when I was feeling it, and no big deal, I just know that it existed. And then maybe because of what this study is alluding to, you improve your system, then things are not going to feel so bad. So if I was not exercising, I was just a normal everyday person, more like the less than 1 hour a week exercise type of person, then if I have a decrease in volume being pumped because of the Afib, then I'm going to maybe start to get dizzy, maybe start feeling some other things, not feeling that well. But because I've been exercising all this time, my body's used to dealing with less oxygen, and it can handle it. So I've never really felt any type of discomfort when I was in Afib. They also experienced a 5-pound loss, the cholesterol levels went down, and their hearts were pumping stronger, so atrial function. Obviously, you can exercise a little and improve yourself. I like exercising a lot more. I certainly can't do what I was doing before when I was doing the ultra type of training. I'm hoping I can find a happy medium in there. So in one of the next episodes, in terms of Afib, what I'm going to be talking about is diet and inflammation. Remember, comment, like, subscribe, and like this video. Subscribe, I need subscribers. The Cycling Greek. Improve